Freitas.
Asra Freitas.
Simon Freitas.
Asra Freitas. Hey.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back to the Freitae Effect. I am your co-host, Azeb Mariam Freitas.
And I am your other co-host, Simon Petros Freitas.
Wow, I can't believe I said my middle name in the world.
We out here.
Hi. How are you, bro?
I am alive.
You're alive.
I am drinking wine.
Hey.
We are Gucci. How about you?
I'm good. I am frustrated, but I am ready for fall and all of that goodness because fall's my favorite season. As you know, we are from Boston, Massachusetts, where we're in New England, so we get all that beautiful fall shit.
October is legitimately my favorite color, but we'll get there.
Yes. Yes. And I know like the official first day of fall is September 21st because it's like the summer equinox or the fall equinox, whatever the fuck it is. But you know, like that, I genuinely try to wait until that day before I'm like, fall shit, let me get my fucking pumpkin spice latte, even though I don't do that shit.
Just that pumpkin coffee. That's what I do.
Yeah, just pumpkin shit, you know?
Yeah, pumpkin donut.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought you meant that as like Dunkin' Donuts, but pumpkin donuts.
Pumpkin donut.
Hey, yo.
Pumpkin.
Anyways, I love that we've already started this off so fucking off track. Let me tell you guys what this topic is. Okay, so it's actually kind of a melancholy, bittersweet kind of a topic. It's kind of controversial. Serious. It's kind of sad.
Yes.
And then there's the happy things. So we wanted to talk about this culture clash for us as Ethiopian Americans of 9/11 and Ethiopian New Year's. So pretty much every year is, you know, Ethiopian New Year's, and that existed before 9/11 happened, and then 9/11 happened, and now it's like, oh, you know, you live in America, here's this day of memorial where you're supposed to be sad and whatever, whereas on the same day it's also a day of like renewal and you know, thinking of a new year, right? Yeah. And like to celebrate life. Which, you know, those two things could be tied together. So we just wanted to shed some light on those two topics since they're on the same day. We thought it'd be something interesting to talk about. And we want to share a special happy birthday shout out to our grandfather, Papa John Freitae Sr.
Papa.
So I know he probably definitely doesn't listen to this.
Nah, he can't figure out a computer at all.
But
we love you.
Happy birthday, we love you. You're a fave. Don't tell anyone we said that. Okay, bye.
All right.
Anyways, Simon.
Yes.
Let's turn some tables now.
Oh, it is time for How the Turns Have Tabled. So, this How the Turns Have Tabled is brought to you by the TSA. So, as is related with the theme of 9/11, we've thought about the TSA, and this is also a story about my father. So, my dad was at the airport. Where was he going, Azab? Do you know?
I genuinely do not remember.
Well, he was going somewhere domestically. And so he's getting in security. He's in the line. He puts his shoes up, his belt, his bag, everything. He goes in the new X-ray machine, which is, you know, like a scan of your whole entire being and soul. And they start freaking out. And he's standing in there just like trying to be like, well, I got to get on a freaking plane. And they're freaking out on him. And they're like, what do you have in your pockets? And then he's like, napkins. And they're just like, whoa! And they're like really ripping it. And then he's like, okay, so we'll throw away the napkins. And then they were like, oh, you're good. And it's just like, what? But I guess it's something about organic matter going through those kinds of machines because
they just, like, set off some kind of a like. That's interesting.
Yeah, because it happened with my laptop. Like, they told me I had too many stickers on my laptop.
What?
So I had to rip the stickers off my laptop.
Are you serious?
To get on a plane.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, okay, goodbye, Hillary sticker. You lost.
Like,
sorry.
Flammable shit that you could.
Yeah.
Ooh, bitter. Nuts. You know, honestly, you know what's hilarious? Traveling with mom and dad is always a fun time. So this most recent trip when we went to Oakland together, you know, mom and dad go through TSA and dad's like, wow, I can't believe I didn't get stopped for anything. And then she goes, why? And he's like, because, you know, I always do. But then he was also like, and because I have this switchblade. And And then mom, as we're leaving, turns around. She goes, excuse me, this man has a knife. I hate her.
Oh my god, what? I didn't fucking know this.
It was what happens when we all travel without you.
Oh my god. That's funny.
And then, even more later, we get off the plane and we get in the car and we're driving and he opens his bag and he has a shit ton of nips. And I was like, how did you get through security? So, yeah, that's some TSA shit. I don't think I remember the airport without TSA, though. Like, I remember there always being some kind of level of security.
It's usually metal detector. Like, I always remembered
I remember the metal detector. Yeah, I remember that. I think I always have had to take my shoes off, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that, like, shoe bomb situation, right? That happened in, like, the 80s or something.
That was just like, hey, guys, I need a lighter to set my shoe
like,
on fire.
savage!
Because it's a bomb. And then people are like, okay, so, like, cops? Like, but
right.
for real, do not fucking bring shoe bombs into an airport, guys.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't bring bombs, period.
Yeah, also don't say bomb in the airport because that scares the shit out of everybody. I have learned.
We know.
We know now. It's bad.
Yeah.
But
honestly, like, smoothly transitioning out of how the turns have tabled and into, like, our topic about, like, 9/11 and airports and whatnot and the whole day. I don't know anyone who passed away in the tragedy that occurred. Mm-hmm. But obviously, like, moment of silence for them. But also, like, I think a lot about how do, like, Muslims or people who, like, present as, like, of that religion, how much shit they have to go through, right? And I was talking to my friend who's Ethiopian and Muslim, and she's living in America and, kind of grew up here a little bit. And I was talking to her and she was just kind of like, yeah, like, if you wear a hijab, like, on that day, you're probably going to be more, like, aware of how you look. And because she was telling me how sometimes Eid is around the same day. And, like, if they're all dressed up and celebrating the end of the fast, right, then it's, like, on the same day as 9/11. It's just, like, people are going to be targeting you and seeing you as, like, oh, they're celebrating this day of, like, tragedy. And, like, that's obviously not fucking true. Yeah. Like, obviously. But
that's where the cultures clash.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just, like, a thing I just want to kind of bring up. Just, like, be aware that, like, on this day, a lot of things are going on.
Yeah, because it's so much changed after it. Like, and even it was, like, things that people didn't expect to change within themselves. Like, I remember I was talking to one of my friend's parents about just the concept of this episode. And she was telling me about how, like, her perception of people who presented as Muslim was changed. Like, it's just, it happens. Like, it's not something that, it's just a trauma incident. Like, and it even though you might not know someone that was affected in, like, that kind of way, like, you don't know someone that died, like, it's a universal thing in American
but also, like,
culture.
It's just there. I mean, I don't want to say, oh, I took a class about this so I'm an expert on it, but there's just this level of not even romanticizing terrorism, but it's like, this shit happens in other countries all the fucking times. Yeah. Not exactly planes flying into buildings, but, like, horrible, horrible shit like this happens in other countries all the time, and we don't give a fuck. But the one time it happens to America, it's the end of the world, And I'm not trying to compare tragedies, but I'm just saying, like, there's a drastic difference into how we react to things that are going on a global level, that are considered tragedies but aren't being recognized by the government. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it's just because of the impact that it actually has on us. Like, the American people aren't really subjected to the consequences of people blowing up schools in Kenya, but when something as tragic as, like, a World Trade Center, like, it's like a big impact place in New York.
Clearly.
Like,
just like the intent and everything.
Yeah, and it just
sucks that has to impact Muslim Americans, Ethiopian Muslims, you know what I mean? Like, everyone who identifies as that, it just impacts them for the rest of their life in their time in America.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing that actually, like, I actually just thought about right now, there was a kid in my freshman English class in college, and he was talking about the TSA and how, like, he and his parents get stopped a lot because they're, you know, like, they are Arabian. And, you know, he was saying to his dad how he was getting really sick of it. And then his dad was like, I would rather just have this one little thing and make all of us safer than, like, you know, someone show up with a gun on the plane, whether it's like a white guy, a black guy, like this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like there is a lot of, like, idea of safety that comes into it.
Yeah.
But if someone's going to get away with it, like, you know, it's just like, the world is fucking crazy, man. Like,
That's interesting.
you know, like, it's rough. Like,
yeah. That's an interesting perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to slide out of the 9/11 topic and into the Ethiopian New Year's topic, this is what I was gonna say. So I was also asking her, my friend, about like how, like, asking like if she celebrates Ethiopian New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because it was a very like mixed response in the sense of like yes, because her parents do, which I feel like is what most of our answers are. Is like, yeah, we still do that, but that's just because our parents do, you know? Like, I would never know, like, what day anything is if, like, mom and dad weren't like, today's Kid Anime. You know what I mean? Just, like, random shit like that. But, like, you know, that's also a religious thing, too, is, like, knowing, like, what days are what. So, you know, from our conversation, we found that, like, the way she found out about, like, any Ethiopian New Year's events or, like, celebrations was because they were mostly being promoted in the churches, and then the churches, like, the people who go to the churches would share with the people who they, like, live with in their community.
Yep.
So, like, you know, as a Muslim, she didn't really find out about, like, Ethiopian cultural events in the mosque. She found out through them from, like, her friends who were, like, Christian. And I was like, oh, so does Ethiopian New Year's have ties to, like, Orthodox or Christian traditions? So I was going to ask you about that because I know you did more research about this topic, and if you know anything about that.
About the traditions?
Yeah, and, like, if they're, like, religious or if they're just cultural, because, like, I know for, like, Ethiopians, like, everything is so tied together, like, the faith and the culture, they're super, you know. So that's why I was going to ask you, like, did you find that in your research?
I did, kind of. You know, there's, like, normal, just the cultural norms of Ethiopia celebrating a holiday of, you know, slaughtering a cow and, like, you know, setting fires and stuff. But, like, and then I guess there is also the, there's, like, a biblical aspect to it.
Okay.
Where it was something about how the sun and the moon are like, you know, both what does it say exactly? During this time of year, the sun and the moon that are used to count each have 12 hours before setting. So it's like it's about like the heaven and the earth and how the creation of it took place in September and all this jazz about like equality and stuff. But
that's dope.
Yee. And then just a little fun fact, Amharic tidbits. So September in Amharic is Meskerem.
Amharic 101 with Simon Freitae.
Yeah.
That was so cute.
Oh yeah, and so there's usually like popcorn and coffee and other shit.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
The Ethiopian haps.
Hey.
Yeah. That's how to celebrate Ethiopian New Year's with Serkalem Tafese.
But, like, I don't know, the two main things that I always remember about Ethiopian New Year's is, like, the whole, like, flowers thing. Like, the girls with the flowers, and then the song. Yeah. Obviously. And then, like, the Teddy Afro remix, because that's, like, the bomb.
Yeah. And the fire.
Yeah, just... What fire?
The big-ass fire.
There's a fire on New Year's?
Giant fire.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I think it's, like, Buhe. I think you're thinking about that. So, wait, you didn't answer... Is it, like, related to, like, anything biblical or no?
Yeah, like the creation of the earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay, so that's interesting.
And it makes sense, like the new year, like, you know, it's like there's a whole ass new fucking creation,
yeah.
Like, and for it to be on the cycle of like that, Yeah.
Yeah, I like that it's on like a equilibrium kind of a thing, you know,
Yeah.
like 12 hours of this, 12 hours of that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
And then daylight savings time fucks everything up.
Oh no, I am not ready for that.
When does that happen again?
In like October.
Oh.
It's always around the same time as my birthday, and I'm just like, no. Yeah, which is also gonna be a banger.
Bang bang.
Bang bang.
Bang bang.
Anyways, Simon, would you like to transition us into this next segment?
I would love to transition us into this next segment.
That was great.
I know. The difference between American New Year's and Ethiopian New Year's. Yes. So I'd say, I don't know. Would you? Because staying up is like a similarity that I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like a blur now. Like, I don't even know when this blur started to happen. But, you know, American New Year's for us, we always just like stayed up until 12, watched the ball drop on the TV, and then had Chinese food and popped champagne.
Yep.
And had like a pillow fight or something, and then went to sleep.
Or we would fall asleep before midnight, get woken up at midnight. Because people would be shaking and screaming us. And then we'd be like, it's midnight! And then they'd make us eat cake before falling asleep. Yeah.
That's not funny.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god, I saw this meme on Salam Central, which is like this like Ethiopian American kind of diasporic and Eritrean Instagram that like just has like Habesha memes. And it was like what was it? It was like 10:37 p.m. Mom, come eat, the food is ready. And I was like, that is so real. Like just the whole like they will literally wake you up to eat cake and then you go back to sleep. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, yeah.
But yeah, so that, and then eventually over time, like I started just doing New Year's on my own. I think it was in high school, honestly. I was just kind of like, all right, I'm sick of being home on New Year's. I'm going to go out and party with my friends because, like, you niggas are going to sleep at, like, 11:30. So, like, I'm not doing this. And now we just make it, like, a big, like, tradition. It's, like, one of our, like, things that we do, like, this 4th of July and birthdays. Yeah. How about you? What do you do on New Year's? Like American New Year's.
Yeah, it just depends on the year. Usually, like, I used to spend it with my friends, but, like, my Everett friends, but then, like, the couple that would usually host the party has broken up. So then, like, but then now I just kind of spend it with whoever I can that, like, I don't know, like, I always make New Year's plans very last minute. Like, it's always just kind of like, oh, shit, it's almost New Year's. Fuck, I gotta do something.
Yeah,
and then,
you
like,
literally always do.
Yeah. So this past year I spent it with my UNH friends because, you know, we all graduated and then we were like, we were all out of college and we all want to die and some of us have been out for more than a year.
Jesus.
And then yeah, and that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of go with the flow for New Year's.
Cool.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Also, now that I'm reading ahead of these fucking notes, I was damn right. There's a fire! Because I forgot I talked to Dad about this. Yeah. And Dad said that people are superstitious about the fire.
Okay.
But anyway.
Do you want to go back to that?
A little bit. So,
go
this
ahead.
fire, guys. The fire. We didn't start it. Ethiopians did. The fire. Apparently there's like a superstition about like something with how it falls will predict something about the year.
What?
That's like an Ethiopian thing.
So what do they do?
They make a huge ass fire and there's like a big tall ass thing.
Yeah, like
and
a TV.
Then whatever way it falls, like they'll like interpret it.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to like do that.
Yep. Keep our eyes open 2 weeks. Or no, what's the...
Wait, are you talking about mezcal?
Dad said there was a fire.
Okay.
Dad said it.
All I know is there's a... Is it?
Although Dad and Mom also had... Oh! So the research didn't really show any biblical shit. But Mom and Dad... I'm sorry. I'm just like slowly circling back.
You're so annoying.
Mom and Dad had a bunch of biblical shit to say. And this was not in anything I was reading.
Okay.
But, because the things I was reading was talking about how, like, It's called Mescaram because it's like, oh shit.
That's September.
No, is it Mescaram?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's the one that's like... Oh, no, Inkutatash. That's it.
Oh,
the celebration's called Inkutatash because that's when... That's called the Gift of Jewels, and that's like when King Solomon gave Queen of Sheba the like jewels during like her famous visit to like Jerusalem, and then like her return to Ethiopia and all that jazz.
Oh my god! So this should be like my favorite holiday then.
Yeah, because Azeb is Sheba in another freaking language.
We need to have a names episode. We'll come back to that.
Yes.
I'm writing that down.
But mom and dad totally kept being like, no, it's not about the Queen of Sheba. And maybe mom said it was, but dad totally was against it. And I was just like, well, all these books say it is. And then he's just like, no, it's about when John the Baptist got his head cut off. And I was like, what? And then mom said the same thing, and I was like, it must be true.
I'm so like, what about like dial your local priest and ask?
1-800 Ethiopia.
500 different stories. I love it. That's crazy.
Shit.
But honestly, that's like Mad Ethiopian is like there's always like 7 different stories for one situation.
Seriously.
That's cute.
Oh my god.
Cool. But yeah, I was gonna go back to just talking about how I celebrate Ethiopian New Year's now and how I used to. Like, Ethiopian New Year's always just assumed, like, mom and dad were going to take us to some kind of event that had, like, injera and, like, eskista happening. You know what I mean? And then, like, the flowers and shit.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm grown, so I can decide if I want to go to some, like, event that's happening where I know there's going to be a bunch of Habeshas and I can, like, see my friends and just be, like, extra Ethiopian for no reason.
Yep.
Or I just totally ignore the holiday because I got nothing to do, you know? And we're also in Boston where it's not like Atlanta or DC or LA where, like, you can just go find that stuff and it's normal. Like, the way that Everett is filled with, like, Brazilian little cafes is literally how all those other places are that I just listed, but for Ethiopians. It's crazy. Yeah. So, you know. Yeah.
We need to go.
Yeah, I know. You think I don't talk about this on the daily for no reason? It's called Operation Get Out.
Yo,
listen to episode 9.
Yes.
Woo! We outie, baby.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is just, you know.
I'm not sorry.
Speaking into existence.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah. How about you, bro? Like, do you celebrate? Like, what's your situation?
Honestly, I've been so far out of the game because of, UNH. Just been surrounded by cows and white people.
Yeah.
So.
No, even when I was at college, I was like, okay, I have no one to celebrate with. I just call my mom or call Reti or whatever and just be like, Happy New Year.
I would tell people at UNH it was Ethiopian.
I would always tell people.
And
like,
I'd just be like, bumping, but then they'd just be like, Simon, it's fucking 9/11. This is not funny. And I'm just like, it's not a fucking joke. This is my culture.
Yeah, you're like,
so,
no, like, I just need to play one song.
Yeah, and like one year it was September 12th, so I was like, I don't have any guilt. Like, you know, it's like I can actually just fucking be happy. But But yeah, so that's kind of where I've been at. And then last year, you know, the first year out of college is just a blur.
Dude, that shit's different.
you don't remember anything.
Shit hits different.
Yeah, fact.
Oof.
Just unemployment. I'm just like, what?
Like, you see it in movies, and you're like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, and then every
no one
day
prepares you
you're
for
just
that.
looking at the same roof, and you're just like, oh, shit.
You're like, why haven't I moved for 6 hours?
Yeah, so You're like, did I fall asleep on the toilet again?
Oh my God.
Like, no.
Like, did I eat today? Have I even opened my mouth to speak yet?
Yo, the days that I was like, have I spoken yet?
Like, you'll think it to yourself, and then you'll, like, speak out loud and be like, that was the first words I've said all day.
Yep.
and you'll be like, I've been awake for like 4 hours.
But a good chance it's going to be the first words I say are to myself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like I'm not even fucking talking
Literally.
to anyone. But yeah, so I don't know what I was doing last year during New Year's. And then this year, what fucking day is it?
I don't know, but I'm not even going to be, like, in Boston to celebrate because I'm going to be in California, which is fine. Shout out to anybody that is celebrating in California. Come find me.
Party.
No, just kidding. Literally,
Don't.
not come find me. I'm gonna be like
Such a bitch. I love it. Like, literally, don't fucking do it. Stay away.
Please don't.
Like,
I'm going on vacation with my
time.
best friends. I just want to enjoy that. I'm literally gonna be in the mountains, like not even on any kind of cellular device. So if you see me posting, just know I'm in trouble. Just kidding. I'm gonna be having a great time.
Yes.
Anywho, don't know why we had to go down that. In terms of, for me, I started doing this with Faith of like, instead of New Year's resolutions, doing New Year's themes. Mm-hmm. And other people have started doing it too. And I'm like, yay, themes. Because themes are like easier to help you achieve your goals. What?
It just seems funny to be like, well, I actually had a theme this year, but it's just
what
like
is
ridiculous. So it was more of a learning moment from someone else's stupidity.
Oh, I love it.
So the theme was don't fuck your friends.
Oh.
It's a great theme.
That's a very simple theme.
It keeps things simple.
Like, straightforward.
Like no
it's a constant
drama.
Reminder.
Yeah.
That's good.
Don't fuck your friends 2K19.
Ooh. Okay, that's a good one.
What's your theme?
So I want to start from the beginning. So
There's so much. I'm ready.
So I started at least doing like the whole idea of themes in like 2016. So like, I think it was like my senior year, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't like selling myself short. Mm-hmm. So I think I made that year's theme authentic. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like, be true to yourself. Like, I would always just make sure that I was using that as my compass throughout the year of like, is this something that is true to me? Is this something that I actually want? Is this something that aligns with my values? Because like we mentioned, being unemployed, like, you think like, okay, I'll just take this because it's the like closest thing that you want. And then you think about it, you're like, wait, that's not what I want.
Yep.
So I was just like, what is true to like the life I'm trying to build? So that was that year. And then I also just kind of like cleaned my life of a lot of things that I thought I was me. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, wait, no, I'm like reclaiming myself as an adult right now. Like, this is like the things I want in my life. Mm-hmm. And the personality traits and the qualities that I want to like create to be the best version of myself that like I can actually do now, because I'm not studying and I'm not leading anything, like I can, It's a new slate, right? So I was like, bet, this is the beginning of adulthood.
Authentic.
Round 2. When I moved back home and I was transitioning into adulthood and had this new job and like, now I have money for the first time ever, like real fucking money. And I was just like, okay, I have this job, but I want to make sure I'm also putting things in my life that are things that I like to do, like dance and teaching and whatever. Instead of that being like my day job, obviously. So, just figuring out how to keep all those things a part of my life, while also not being in a like, a campus setting where that's all just accessible to you. And also learning how to take care of yourself, like cooking and like self-care and like your new hair routines and like whatever you got to do for you. Cause like as you age, your body changes.
Yep.
And whatever. But yeah, so that year's theme was focus. And I think for me, like when I graduated, I was like, bet now I can just like party and like live my life and whatever. And then once my money ran out and then once I got a job, I was like, okay, I can't be living my life like this. And I really got to like get my shit together.
Yeah.
Cause I went loose. But it was great. It was great because like I deserved it because I worked my fucking ass off.
Yeah.
And I was like, word. Now I get to chill because like I've never been able to fucking chill.
Yeah.
So I got to chill and I was like, I deserved that. But after that, I was like, okay, now I really need to focus. And that's when I moved and then like, I got promoted, a lot of things. It was great. Mm-hmm. And then this year's theme is wholesome.
Wholesome.
Yeah. So it's kind of like tying all of those things together. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, then I do a monthly wholesome post of all the activities I did in the month that were wholesome to hold myself accountable. And it's pretty funny, I think, at least. So I picked wholesome because I wanted to make sure I was like doing things that made me feel whole, that were kind of balanced in like what I care about and things that I like to do. And things that I am investing my time in seriously, so like starting this, like the podcast, or being part of Habesha networks and leading that, and dance, like being able to perform and get paid to perform. That's amazing. travel. There's just like, there's so many things I was able to do this year, and that's because I feel like I was really good at being strategic in terms of like how I was spending my time. But every year I practice that a little more and I get better at it. Because I feel like that is like the main thing for me in terms of just being an adult, is like figuring out how to actually use your time. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. So that was a lot. Thank you for listening to my vulnerability section. Please do not ask me any questions about it in person, because I am a Scorpio and we do not like to talk about it. So anyways, so yeah, you said you had your theme, I had my theme. Awesome. So you want to do these key takeaways?
Let's take these fucking keys.
Let's take these keys. I'm dead.
Also, I would just like to give Dad a shout out. I'm sorry that this episode is gonna be short. I know you like the long ones, but yeah, we only had so much.
Sorry to be a disappointment all the time. Anyways, we back.
Let's take these keys, Azab.
Yeah, take the keys, Simon.
All right. So
I'm gonna take my key to the side. Let's play the little 4-wheel drive.
It's all about the 4-wheel drive, guys. So New Year's themes. Azab, I feel like this is your takeaway.
No.
Yes.
Oh my god, whatever. I just feel like I just did so much talking. Okay, so I'm gonna take the keys. I'm driving my Volvo. So the keys are.
Bitch, we ain't got no Volvo.
Oh, my bad.
Not yet.
Volkswagen, baby.
Yes.
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 In case y'all don't know, Simon has a car now.
I got a car.
But anyways, yeah. So going off of what I said earlier, New Year's is a great time to, set some goals. Use it as a clean slate. Use it as a moment of refresh and reflect. But to, just finally, you don't have to wait till New Year's to take a step into something, It's a good motivator. It's a good, timestamp. But also, you don't have to wait. You can start change in your life whenever you want.
Especially since our New Year's aren't always the same. It's it's all about your perspective. Yeah. But
I always like to use, American New Year's as, the beginning. And then, I'll check in on how I've been doing at Ethiopian New Year's.
Like a progress report?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's the last quarter and I'm failing.
Me.
Yeah. But yeah, so, do what you gotta do. You don't gotta have, to wait for New Year's. But, either or. It's up to you.
My turn?
Yeah.
I'd say practicing mindfulness around certain holidays, because like we've said through multiple different episodes, you never really know what people are going through ever. So
never safe to assume.
Yeah, so just I right now I'm imagining fresh off the boat Ethiopian coming to America, just celebrating New Year's and going to work and being all happy, and seeing all these depressed people because it's a horrible time in America on 9/11, because everyone just remembers where they were. Azab, did we talk about that?
Where we were on 9/11?
Yeah.
You want to get into it?
Well, okay, so...
I mean, honestly, I remember, but I don't remember.
That's
you know what I mean?
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember?
To be completely
frank. I remember,
frank,
vivid things. So, we were at St. Anthony's. Mm-hmm. You were in, kindergarten. I was in first grade.
Yeah.
I remember that day, actually. It's really weird. Because we were hella young. And I just remember getting released out of school early. And we got picked up by Dad, and then we went home, and Dad was kind of just quiet, but I was like, whatever, Dad's just tired. And then we go into Mom and Dad's room, and Mom's bawling her eyes out, and I look at the TV and I see the planes crashing into the buildings, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But I didn't really understand what was happening. You know what I mean? And I don't even remember at what age I started to understand. I think it was more of just seeing memorial services and watching CNN when we'd go to any family reunion, any type of anything. And it always being just a constant topic.
Yeah.
So, it was a very interesting time to grow up, right in, post 9, like, right in it,
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, it's kind of like thinking about little kids who grow up with Obama being their president, and then thinking about little kids right now growing up with Trump being their president. It's like, and I talked about this with Papa, just talking about how 9/11 for our generation was JFK's assassination for his generation.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, like, that is so true.
Wow.
Like, you think of tragedies and, like, there's always one that's associated per generation. And I'm curious what it is for this age, because I would like to say, would not like to say, but, like, I would say it's safe to say the Amazon burning should be considered the biggest fucking tragedy for this generation.
Yeah.
Even though that's out of it. Well, is it out of control? Because, conspiracies.
Conspiracies, guys.
Yes.
But
anyways,
yeah, I, just my little 2 cents, even though I already kind of said it. I don't remember. I was very young. I just remember that as time went on, I understood that day was rough.
Yep.
And that it was like, I don't know, it was just a day of memorial. Like, it was, and as we did band, then it just kind of became another, like, event that we would go to and be in uniform and just be serious.
Yeah.
And I think it really clicked when we got to, like, high school, because that's when you just mature enough and you're like, because maybe before it clicks and you're like, shit, that's horrible and bad. But then you really start to feel it when, like, I remember there was a day that it really clicked for me. We were sitting in, like, our class, and Principal Baldy was like, yeah, like, there was a dad and his daughter coming back from Disneyland, and he, like, talks about, like, they were, like, coming back on 9/11.
Damn.
And, they smashed into the World fucking Trade Center. And,
so
that hit. And, like, everyone's just sitting in class being like, holy God. And they're just like, yeah, so, like, be present, be here, like, like, love each other, love your family. And I was like, damn, this is some deep shit right here. Like, and it was just a freshman in high school. Like to hear that shit from your principal. And then he leaves the next year. But, like, it was still just,
a lot.
It was a heavy.
It's pretty heavy. I remember in high school, like, there being assemblies and teachers talking about how they knew people and whatever, and it was just really, like, it was like a community building situation, like, community bonding, my bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I've always been so fascinated with it, because clearly, like, I'm obsessed, if you think about the classes that I've taken that are related to this topic. But, yeah, like, there's a difference between knowing about it and then seeing it. Because when I was studying it my freshman year in this class that I took about, it was called, like, Historical Perspectives of 9/11, and we kind of just analyzed the whole thing and talked about, like, did Bush do 9/11, the whole thing, and just all the different perspectives and whatnot. And then when I lived in New York for a month doing the arts administration program, one of my projects was to go to the 9/11 museum and evaluate it as a museum. And that was my first time being there. And I was like, wow, like, seeing the whole, like, the fountain and everything. And just the way that they decided to curate it was very, very interesting.
How so?
I can send you my paper if you want. I'll include it in this.
Fuck it up.
in this week's release. But, yeah, it's complicated the way they go about doing it. I think they do a good job of trying to include as much as possible, and make you feel like you're leaving destruction and debris, and like you're really immersed in it, and really making you understand, like, the levels of depth that it's physically caused on New York, and just the sheer amount of people and level of sorrow that comes with it.
Yeah.
That it impacted. But I also just want to say that, like, we do memorialize these things, but we also have to, like, continue to celebrate life. Like, there are people whose birthdays are on this day. There are people whose anniversaries are on this day. And so, like, you can't just mourn forever.
Isn't Alexa's birthday on this day?
Yeah, my roommate from freshman year of college, yeah. Yeah. So just pretty much, like, That's all I have.
Yeah. It's just all centered around the thing of being mindful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it. All right. As always, we are grateful for our listeners. If you are new to us, please follow us on Instagram at The Freitae Effect, on Twitter at TFEPod, and like us on Facebook. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and follow us on SoundCloud, and leave a comment or repost. And please always feel free to share with a friend. Other places you can find us include Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. If you have questions you would like us to answer and show feedback / affirmations, please email us at thefreitaeeffect@gmail.com. If you really like what you hear, please find us on Patreon and become a patron. Become a patron, because
this
your donation will make this easier.
Free.
It's not free. It's not free. It's not free. So, thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your week.
Ciao, salam gebu.